So now I want to talk to you about how this spirituality, and particularly the one advocated by the prayers and the decrees. First of all, just ascended masters talk about decrees and all. So I want one of you to talk about what is the difference between a prayer and a decree.
I'll be happy to start.
Yeah, sure, please go ahead.
Please.
Well, the Ascended Masters have brought to us a scientific formulation of the power of sound, the power of the word. So the word, with a capital W, is God. I believe that we even read in the Vedas, in the beginning was Vak, was the word. It's also the opening line of the book of John in the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the word is light, it's God, it is energy, it is everything. And in this age of Aquarius, the Ascended Masters have released to mankind a scientific way to use that word. We call them decrees because when we say this is the law, it's like giving a decree. We are decreeing that such and such will happen. Well, now we're working with God to give a decree. We're saying, in the name of God, which is I am that I am, OM TAT SAT OM, in the name of God, I call this light into the world. In other words, I decree this light into the world. God has given me that power by placing himself, herself within my very heart. So I can use that power of the word to go out and change myself and the world. And it's really what can turn around so many of the things that we see as terrible situations on earth today.
So, but I still didn't get it. What is the difference between a decree and a prayer? In the way it is chanted, or in the way it is structured?
Both. All forms of prayer are very important. So of course we use which kind depending on the situation. Meditation, where we sit silently and we focus on nothing, or we focus on a certain mantra, or we focus on an image of a deity, that's also very necessary because it helps us unite our consciousness with the divine. And that would be used for that very purpose, to unite our consciousness with the divine. Or we might say a very loving prayer to the angels, or when we go to bed at night, dear God, I have not done so well on certain things, but I've done better on other things, and thank you and forgive me. We just talk, and that's also equally important. But when we really need to call the light of God into an intense situation, like war breaking out on the border of one nation or another, we can say, in the name of God, I am that I am, send forth your light, send the angels into that situation. Because we have God in our hearts, we can send the angels and the heavenly deities into any situation. So you can see the different ways to use them, and they actually combine, because the spoken prayers, the decrees, which are kind of like chants or poems that we say in rhythmic way, they are also a meditation. If you really give them from your heart, and if you think about, visualize what you're asking for, the light of forgiveness, the violet light, the light of love, the beautiful pink light, the blue of the will of God, you meditate upon those things as you say the words. So they each have a different purpose, but they all go together as well.
So, so that means when you seek something from God, or you want to thank God for something, you say a prayer. But when you want to become a co-creator with the God, then therein comes a decree.
Very
right?
good. Yes. And you know when you need that.
Yeah.
You know? For example, you're driving in the car and someone's coming right at you and you say, Archangel Michael, help me, help me, help me.
Yeah.
You don't say, oh, please come by if you have time.
So in our life these days, I'll talk about the various life issues now. So there's a lot of stress among people,
Yes.
especially after the pandemic. It has, I suppose it has gone back. It is not going to come back again, but we still have that fear that fear looming large over us. So in such a situation, how would decrees help?
Yes.
I would like to answer that this way. Please feel free to add on something if I missed something. The fear or the doubt, they call them, in India we call them Rahu Ketu, So there is a fear, then there is a doubt. Where there is a doubt, there is a fear. So because of what happened in 2020, 21, last 2 years actually, that is still has some way of record or record of that 2 years in the subconscious mind. So that really comes up from time to time because we call it solar plexus chakra. That is below the level of the heart, subconscious level. So how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
Ascended masters, people will say, well, you can do prayer, you can do this, you can do that, you can do meditation, you can do so many things that are tools available. Has been all these years. Here enter the Ascended masters into this play. They said, well, it's called something called progressive revelation. That's very important to remember that. God doesn't give one teaching and then say, okay, goodbye. And then he sends the avatars, then he sends his messengers. So the latest revelation has been understanding the gift of the violet flame mantras, violet flame decrees we call them. Okay. So what happens is when people give the violet flame mantras, simple mantra, I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desire. I am means God in me is capital I, capital A, capital M. So when we chant that, we bring the violet flame into our solar, through our heart chakra, goes into solar plexus chakra where the doubt and fear records are there. And what it does, it transmutes it. Well, you can say, well, why energy get transmuted? The law is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It changes form from higher form to lower form, from lower form to higher form. When it changes the form, it comes out from doubt and fear energy. They get transmuted by the influx of the violet flame energies, and they become your asset. From the liability, which is burdensome, it becomes your asset as joy and peace and harmony.
So, Lois, just chanting these will help?
Yes, just
Or
chanting.
something more you have to do?
Well, chanting is the best way. As I listen to Jaspal, I agree with what he's saying, and I'll just give you an example in my life. Every day we are walking around in the middle of everybody's emotions, their anger, their frustration, their fear. Many people are fearful now, and that you mentioned COVID. I noticed traveling for the first time in 3 years, it's different for me. I have to really think about, do I have to get this COVID test? Am I going to be able to make this plane? What are the requirements to get into this country? All these different things. Am I going to sit next to somebody who has COVID? All these fears. And so we're walking around in everybody's fear and emotion. And how do we keep ourselves pure and clean and protected from all of that? Well, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes I just feel all that fear laying on me. And I think, I can't, what's going on? I don't even want to get up. And in a case like that, and for those of you who see this on YouTube, or any other media, very simple. What if you just said, I am light? Instead of feeling this all over your chakras and your energy, and you just lay there for a minute, and maybe you don't even say it, you just think about the light in your heart, the light above you that is you, and say, I am light. I am light. I am light. And we have magnificent prayers that go longer, but even if you only know that much, I am light, and instead your attention is off of that energy and it's into the light. It changes you immediately. And I find that I only need to even think it silently and it changes. But then if you say a mantra like that, or I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires, if you can remember that much, then the whole dynamic changes and everything starts to flow. Do you find that?
Yes.
So is there any instance you would like to talk about where a particular decree helped you?
Yeah, well, as we are talking about stress, so in today's life we will have a lot of contradictions with people, a lot of times we will have misunderstandings, and a lot of time we will have with our own family members, where we don't want to have a dispute, but the situation is like that we want to swift through that situation peacefully. And during those situations, we should enter in our heart, जिसे कहते हैं अपने मन मंदिर में जाना. We enter in our heart and we say that God help me, peace be still, peace be still, peace be still, so that we do not overreact. That's what are the major causes of these kind of arguments. And once we center in our heart, we have peace, we swift through the situation. But after the situation is over, then the thoughts start coming in, because we have a residue of that situation, that argument. And to clean that, we should do some violet flame. Maybe I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires. To clean our being, to clean our aura, so that we do not have that residue be in us for a very long time. So that's what usually I do.
So what I gather is that I am a being of violet fire, I am the purity God desires, is the most potent mantra. Even if you don't decree, if you don't say any other decrees, just say this.
Would like to say something before I say it?
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's one of the beginners. To me, it was one of the easiest two-line beginner mantra. However, you could modify this mantra many ways. Like you can say, I am a being of violet fire, I am the devotee God desire. You can replace the word I am. My heart chakra is the chakra of violet fire. My heart chakra is the devotee God desire. My solar plexus is chakra of violet fire. My solar plexus chakra is the purity God desire. And so on and so forth. So you can replace all these 7 chakras like that. Then you can look at someone in your family member. Someone like anyone. So put a name, like I put my name. Jaspal is a being of violet fire. Jaspal is a purity God desire. So so you can put the name of anyone in the family member. You can put the name of the city. Delhi is a city of violet fire. Delhi is a purity God desire. India is a nation of violet fire. India is a purity God desire. The planet is a planet of violet fire. The planet is a purity God desire. So I think you can see that it's a simple mantra. However, it's not just chanting the mantra. There's something behind it. It has to come from your heart. It has to have the visualization. When you add the visualization, that adds 90% more. And when it comes from your heart, it makes totally 100% picture. So you become, the science of the spoken word becomes so accurate with heart chakra involvement, which is called feelings, and the visualization involvement.
How do you visualize?
Very good question. You have a family member, visualize a family member. You have a situation in a city, map of India, map of planet Earth. People walking when you're doing something, watching on the television. Or you can send that energy, that any situation like earthquake happened in Turkey, Syria, you can visualize that situation and you can send violet flame. Turkey is country violet fire, Turkey is a purity God desire, Syria. Or you can see the people. And what I have noticed that, as I said earlier, who are we? We are sons and daughters of God. That was my first realization. When I realized that, tu mera pita, tu mera mata, tu mera bandhav, tu mera brata, that means I am God's self, becoming God, I can say that. I'm becoming God because as I walk the journey. So I think that is really a mighty understanding that I got from the Sunday message teaching, that I'm not a human. Human means H-U, human. Human is like someone who evolved from gorilla. It's not. We are sons and daughters of God. So a lot of misunderstanding that I had.
You're discounting the theory, scientific
God
theories.
man, God woman, not human man,
So
human
you are
woman.
discounting the scientific theories.
Someday I think we will, I know master dream is that someday people will know that in the coming golden age, which is Satyug, people will know who they really are. And this is the first step. This mantra is the first
So we are
step.
not monkeys. We not come from monkeys.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now I think science is just starting to catch up with religion. Now we're starting to find that there might actually be in physics a particle that is love.
Yeah.
Surprise!